Okay, welcome back to the Ashish and Ryan Sports and Political Podcast. So it came out this week that the Giants are asking for 2 first-round picks for Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham Jr., should I say, to be correct in that regard, I guess. But 2 first-round picks. The asking price is high. The asking price is high, very high, for a receiver, for anybody. Okay. I value a backup quarterback that has shown potential higher than a star wide receiver on certain teams. Types teams that need players all around, but don't have a quarterback. Quarterback's more valuable, therefore therefore quarterback demands higher and more picks. You know, everybody talks about how Odell Beckham is this great player. And yeah, he's fast. He's big. Not big, he's fast. He's strong. And has great route running skills. But he's extremely immature. Has not performed in the clutch. And now has durability questions, as well as a relatively small sample size of peak production, even though he's just entering his prime. How is he going to be off the ACL? And the reason why I would not ask this question about Richard Sherman is that you don't need elite corners all over the place. And San Francisco wasn't trading anybody. They were paying money straight off the bookend. And it was filled with incentives, non-guaranteed money as well. The Odell Beckham situation involves 2 first-round picks that can be franchise changers. That's what the New York Giants ideally want for a semi-proven distraction, and at best, the wide receiver, the 4th best wide receiver in football. I'd put Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, and AJ Green, not in that order. But I have those 3 guys ahead of Odell at this point. I would. And I'm probably missing a couple guys like Thielen and Diggs, and based on a talent perspective, they're not as good as Odell, but production and them not being a distraction and them not being extremely over budget, Those guys I would actually value more than I would Odell Beckham. And then we're not even talking about tight ends like Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski. Where do you put them in the grand scheme of things? How about Le'Veon Bell, Zeke Elliott, Leonard Fournette, right? So when we talk about wide receiver, the NFL is now so past happy that when we value wide receiver, we have to take all offensive skill position personnel into account, understanding that these players are now so multifaceted, being able to both run and catch the ball, run routes, block, do all these different things, do them effectively. A good amount are underpaid, and they produce. So how valuable is Odell Beckham really? Is he really supposed to be valued that high? In a league that suits personnel like him, when there are multi-position players that can do not just catch the ball, not just run 60 yards and catch the ball, but can also run in between the tackles. Stay healthy. Don't chirp for their money all the time, asking to be overpaid for something they're not worth. Are not a distraction to their team. All of these things factor into a player's value. And by value, I mean not just monetarily, but the perception to the entire league, to a franchise, to a fan base, which is also something that translates to the amount of money that teams are willing to offer them. So with that, I say this. I think the Giants are overvaluing Odell Beckham. I would go down to 1 first-round pick. A first and a second. The Cleveland Browns currently have three second-round picks and 2 first-round picks. You ask them to trade the 4th pick and one of the second-round picks. Cleveland gets Odell Beckham, right? They also get the quarterback of the future, quote unquote. The Giants trade for the 4th spot, and you'd also think about number 33 if you're the Giants, right? Let's say 4 and 33. I think that's what they would go for. Number 2, you draft Josh Rosen. You assume it'd be Josh Rosen. Who knows? He's the most pro-ready prospect in this draft. You draft him. Okay, you draft him, you let go of the headache that is OBJ. Now, what's the major issue with your offense at this point? It's not receiver. You can always draft 6 of those in any. There's always receivers to get. They have Sterling Shepard. Right? He's a good receiver to build on. I'm pretty sure they have Victor Cruz. Hold on. I'm going to find a list of wide receivers that play for the New York Football Giants. Read them off to you. The wide receivers. Wide receiver. Sterling Shepard. Who else? No. They got Cody Latimer. He's a good player. He's fast. Brandon Marshall. Dwayne Harris is still there. Who else? So, when you talk about a Sterling Shepard, Brandon Marshall, and Travis Rudolph as well, he's a good player. Just so they can fill the void there. Right? I mean, Odell is obviously this great receiver, but they can fill the void by giving Brandon Marshall and Sterling Shepard a bigger role, because one, Brandon Marshall is going to be available to play, and Sterling Shepard going into his 3rd year is a good receiver who I think is ready to develop into a great one. I also think Dwayne Harris as a speedster is a good player as well. Now with the 4th pick in the draft, let's say this trade goes through. 2nd pick, Josh Rosen. 4th pick, why not draft Quentin Nelson? Why not draft Quentin Nelson? You already have Nate Soldier. Quentin Nelson would add 2 elite offensive linemen, and they protect both sides of the offensive line. Protect both sides of the offensive line. Keep the pocket steady for Josh Rosen for the next decade. And guess what? This allows you, in essence, to let go of Eli Manning and save a bunch of cash at the end of this season, assuming you let him stay for one more year to develop Josh Rosen or whoever you're going to draft. Now, what does this do? And I think this is very interesting. The Giants would take a $12.4 million cap hit by getting rid of Odell. They would also save a good amount of money. Offensive tackles, offensive linemen don't get paid much, especially on rookie deals. Le'Veon Bell is going to be off of that franchise tag. The Steelers are probably going to let him walk. You could stare him in the face with $15 million. 2019, Le'Veon Bell, free agent, in a New York market with Sterling Shepard, Brandon Marshall, and 2 generational offensive tackles, along with your once-in-a-generation quarterback, Josh Rosen. Let's not forget that they have the 33rd pick, and corners are always available in the second round. If they can retool on the cornerback position, watch out, because this defense was already very good at safety, interior line play, and linebacker. If they can retool at corner, watch out for the New York Giants for the next 6 to 7 years, and the rebuild will not take as much time as people believe that a traditional rebuild will, because of the cap space that they have, because of the free agent market that's going to come up, because of the prospects in this draft, and because of the needs, the specific needs that the New York Giants have. Oh, God. That's a terrible start. But yes, if I were New York, one receiver is not worth holding on to if you can fast track your entire rebuild process and make yourself a contender years to come with young, mostly young, athletic pieces that are hungry to win. And that's what New York can do by getting rid of a headache and talking business sense rather than being all relationshipy and keeping Eli Manning and keeping Odell Beckham. Instead, make the business move for your team and move to win the Super Bowl within the next 5 years. No wide receiver is worth 2 first-round picks, because with 1 first-round pick, you've already found your next guy. That's just the nature of the position. Odell Beckham, his asking price is too large. If you lower this asking price, if you cut Eli Manning, you save major money on the cap. You draft high-quality players. You sign high-quality free agents that want to come there because of the market. Everything is set up for the New York Giants to fast-track this rebuild, like the Boston Celtics. It's only a question of whether the traditional franchise is willing to let go of tradition and loyalty to evolve into a new stage of Giants glory. This is the Ashish Ryan Sports and Political Podcast. Up next, and by the way, update on Shohei Ohtani. His pitching debut has sucked. I mean, it has been terrible. 3 hits, 3 earned runs, just 6 Ks, ERA of 4.5. Not a good start to the all-purpose Japanese phenom's pitching career. Hopefully he does better on the offensive side of the ball. But up next, playing hardball. How Trump has won against China, South Korea, and North Korea. All coming up next, in cases of both diplomacy and economics. All coming up next on the Ashish Sports and Political Podcast.